This is Chapter 4C, Equations with Brackets. You'll learn two skills in this one, which is first basically learning how to solve your equations when they have brackets, which basically is the distributive property, and then how to solve these problems when there's multiple sets, but also having to collect like terms. So basically, in order to solve problems with brackets or parentheses, we have to compress it down, get rid of these unnecessary brackets here, just so that we can start to isolate x and solve for it. So, for example, the first one. If I have two brackets, 3x plus 2 equals 16, what this basically means is when you have a number in front of a set of brackets with nothing in between, no pluses, no minuses, it's just right directly next to the bracket, it basically means to multiply. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything inside the brackets, the 3x and the positive 2, by the 2 on the outside. So we will go 2 times the 3x, which makes 6x, and pass it out 2 times the positive 2, which makes a positive 4. We don't distribute the 2 out to any other numbers if there's something outside of the brackets. It only applies to anything inside the brackets. And then we just bring down the equals 16. And from here, we just solve our problem like normal. Using any method that you use, I will choose to use my inverse method. I'm going to go ahead and move this positive 4 to the other side, which makes 6x equals 16 minus 4. 6x then therefore becomes 12. And in this case, I know I have to divide 6x by 6 and 12 by 6 in order to figure out what x is, and x is 2. So at this time, pause the video, complete the next two exercises. So let's continue on. So we're multiplying 4 to everything inside the brackets. 4 times the 2x and 4 times the positive 3. 4 times 2x makes 8x. 4 times positive 3 makes positive 12. Bring down the equals 28 and we just solve like normal. This becomes 8x equals 28 minus the 12, because we're going to bring this over to their side. This then becomes 8x equals 16. And when you divide both sides by 8, x equals 2. And finally, for the last one, 3 times the 2x makes 6x. 3 times the negative 3, as you notice the sign in front of the 3 is a minus sign, so it's a negative 3, makes a negative 9, equals 15. Then I'm going to go ahead and continue solving the problem, move the negative 9 over to their side, makes 15 plus the 9 because it inverses. 6x therefore becomes 24, and x is just 4 because you divide both sides by 6. Now, just one note about what the distributive property means. I'll take this one as an example. So we have this problem, 2 times 3x plus 2 equals 16. What this really means, it means I have two sets of this. It really means 3x plus 2 plus 3x plus 2 equals 16. So that really becomes 6x plus 4 equals 16. You can solve it like that as well. Now, in another case, this one. This means I have 4 2x plus 3's. So it becomes 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3, plus 2x plus 3 makes 28. And if you compress this down, this is 8x plus 12 equals 28, and you solve it like normal. So basically this number out here implies how many sets of this you have in that you need to add together. And the reason why I put brackets around this expression is to keep it nice and organized so I know how many sets I'm writing. And also if there's a minus sign in front of it, it keeps the problem cleaner. So that way, if this was a positive 2x and I had a minus sign in front of it, I don't mistake it as a negative 2x. Let's move on. Now, before we move on to skill 2, you need to first understand how to collect like terms. And to collect like terms basically means to put the terms that look alike together. So a 4x is the same as a 3x because they both have an x at the tail. So together, those make 7x's. And the 5, positive 5 and the positive 7 are together because they're nothing but just plain numbers, and so together they make a positive 12. At this time, continue with the next two problems. And when you're ready, continue. So B, 2x and a positive 9x makes 11x, and then negative 8 and a positive 10. Well, that's the same thing as saying 10 take away 8, so it's a positive 2. And then finally, you have negative 7x's and negative 5x's. So if you're taking 7 away and then you take 5 more away, you have negative 12x's. And then negative 10 and a negative 3, that becomes negative 13. Now, if you were to write it like this, negative 12x's here and a negative 13 here, it's the same thing. However, if you change the value so it becomes like, for example, negative 13 plus 12x, this is not the same, it's different. So you don't want to change the value of the term, so you have to keep that sign in front of it. Moving on. So now it gets a little more complicated because you have multiple sets of brackets, but it's really not that bad. You have to actually just see it as two separate problems. So first look at the first set of brackets and then cut it off so that the sign goes with the term in front of it. Now, if we were to distribute this one out, this would become 8x plus 4. Then we have to do the second set. It's a positive 3, so that becomes positive 9x plus 6. And continue on. So like I said, the prerequisite was to collect like terms, so look for the ones that look alike. You have an 8x and you have a positive 9x. Together, that makes 17x. And then you have a positive 4 and a positive 6. Together, that makes a positive 10. Equals 44. And just solve like normal. This becomes 17x equals 44 minus 10, because we moved this to the other side. 17x then therefore becomes 34. Therefore, 17x divided by 17 makes x, and 34 divided by 17 makes 2. So x is 2. Now go ahead and continue with the next two problems. So first on B, split the two problems up. And then go ahead and distribute out the work. Now once you have it extended, go ahead and collect like terms. Now once you've collected like terms, go ahead and solve the problem. So in B, x is equal to 1. And we can check this, by the way. Here's how we do a check. Since we know x is 1, all you have to do is substitute it back into the equation. So 2 times 5 times 1, because it's 5x, plus the 2, plus 5 times 1, plus the 2, and this is supposed to make 29, so let's double check. So I'm going to solve everything in the brackets first. 2 times 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2, that's 7, plus 5 times 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 times 7 is 14. 5 times 3 is 15. 14 plus 5 together makes 29. And yes, 29 and 29, they match. Therefore, x is 1. This is correct. If this value right here was not 29, then you've probably done something wrong with x. Moving on to C. So again, split it down and distribute. And what's special about this one is that you're distributing 4 times -2. So this makes -8. So be aware of that. Equaling 1. Now, collect your like terms. And remember, there's a -8 there, so 9 take away 8. That really makes 1. Equals 1. And then from here, solve the problem. So this becomes 20x equals 1 take away 1, which becomes 20x equals 0. Therefore, x has to be 0. Let's do a check, because if you have a 0 for an answer, sometimes it feels a little peculiar. So 3 times 4 times 0 plus 3 plus 4 times 2 times 0 minus 2. It should equal 1, so let's check. So 3 times, well, 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3, plus 2 times 0 is 0, minus 2 becomes negative, 4 times -2 is -8. So then this becomes 9 plus -8, which then equals 1. So in this case, these two answers are the same. Therefore, yes, x does equal 1. So the answer right here is correct. And that's it.